Whether or not you follow all of the reading and programs from Wayward Studio, you've likely seen a variety of short and long reviews of works. What stood out in 2022? What were the best reads? Of the 95 major titles and 26,000 pages I read this past year, here are the best. Paolo Bacigalupi's Pump 6. Bacigalupi's wind-up universe is both perverse and too plausible, an extension of our current neoliberalism and capitalist colonialism partnered against bioengineering and eco-catastrophe. Different from so many other writers, though, Bacigalupi has fully realized his broader space into stories thick with despair and suffering, grotesque anti-empathy, ignorant decadence. The stories do not always strike equally well, and readers must sometimes work diligently to enter the different settings in each. But for hard science fiction with astute pessimism, I can think of few as memorable. Bacigalupi has the same reach of vision as a Ted Chiang, but whereas Chiang's work finds himself frequently into fantasy and myth, Pump 6 finds us more often in the quiet margins of tomorrow's newspapers. This book is also a fit introduction to his novel in the same universe, The Wind-Up Girl. For those who loved his YA Shipbreaker series, this is a darker and deeper step in, a fully adult read. Farewell Navigator by Lenny Zumas. The literary developed world is full of angsty and despondent characters, but Zumas finds new ways into them through a kind of obscurantism and narrative filter, essentially keeping readers as off-center as her antagonists. Be patient as you approach each story. Its oblique and disconnected images resolve ultimately, sometimes into surprises, sometimes tragedies, sometimes a human midnight, so called in one of her stories, which we had never presumed. More, the stories, in order, slide us ever toward a larger canvas of comprehension, which has its own reward. And for honorable mention, here are a few individual tales. Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmilla. In so many ways superior to later books on the supernatural, Le Fanu offers first a cadre of strong females set almost singularly to make decisions and reason for themselves, especially against the relatively single-minded and flat or impotent males. That the story is also homoerotic underscores how the later mythologies of vampirism will develop, but unfortunately more strongly under a chauvinist pen. The seductive power of Carmilla is disconcerting, mostly for its miscues and almost naive desires, and for that all the more believable. The evil has devised several scenarios for preying on mortals, and our narrator protagonist, too, shares in a dualistic attraction-repulsion to which she encounters. Her ambivalence, which results in a kind of paralysis, is far more credible than anything like magic hypnotic eyes and the like. All in all, Le Fanu's work is one of my favorite of the genre now, ranking up with King's Salem's Lot, but with the authenticity of its Victorian age. Joyce Carol Oates, Where Are You Going? Where Have You Been? Is this classic story allegory? Perhaps. But if nothing else, it is a tense and measured moment in sexual initiation and what I will call psycho-horror. Take the 15 minutes to read it, another 15 to think on it, and it may never leave you. Alma Katsu's Werewolf. Unfortunately, we have seen World War II German military and werewolf legends come together before, often on screen and nearly always cheesy. Alma Katsu's extended short tale, however, tops them. Told from the view of a struggling farmer wishing the war would end but fearing the allies who will end it, Katsu's story begins the scares almost immediately, then compounds them with a rich German folktale history, perhaps different from what we've come to know from the common monster legends. And while there are monster scares aplenty, the real tension arises ever from the decisions our farmer must make, and is sometimes unable to make. Have ideas of your own, I should add? I'm not nearly done with this reading list. Drop a comment or a message.